So, hello everyone, good Monday. I do really hope that you are having a great Monday. For those in Europe, it's afternoon. For those joining me from the other around the world, it's probably other time of day. My name is Janis Janovskis and I am a John Maxwell certified leadership trainer and a coach. And today, in my Mighty Mondays video, I would like to talk to you about the world called Gremlins. Not the world, word called Gremlins. What is a gremlin for a leader? Have you noticed that, for example, sometimes after a great inspirational day or an event or just a great inspiration, or sometimes when you wake up with a great mood on a particular morning, there is a time a day or a couple of days that you're feeling sometimes daunted, that your head is full of doubts. Anything that you have visioned and perhaps noted down as idea you could try to achieve comes to sort of a very sharp end. Reality kicks in, sometimes we call that. Sometimes when you have the brightest business idea, you may see, well, who can ever achieve this? I mean, there's so many things I need to do in order to achieve my dream that I dream about. Probably need money. That's the first thing people dream about. Where can I find it? And probably is a lot. They never ask clarifying questions to someone. So these are the gremlins. They are these things that knocking at our brain every day. Everything we do, when we get inspiration, we are pushed to do something, the gremlin comes abroad and says, here I am, let me discourage you. So, over the past JIMC event, which took place 2 weeks ago in Florida, and before that, I have tried to learn and also tried to apply some of these things in my life. So what I tried to learn is how great leaders cope with this issue. What they do to avoid them, perhaps just cope or just overcome them. A time ago, I have thought that it was just only me. Like today, I've written down, noted down myself that I need to tell you something. That's not a negative thing. Many leaders do write it down, they prepare. So the gremlin here. And I thought personally that I had some even mental issues, that it's just only me, that I have these gremlins coming into my mind, that I'm not confident, I'm not great in what I would like to achieve, and so on. However, only later I found out that great leaders, all the great inspirational people, they also have them. And I have tried to learn, observe what is they do. What are these things that they do in order to cope with them and in order to not to escape them, but actually to sort of overcome them, overpower them, let's say so. And I have noted down for myself 8 things. I need to note down the 8th thing that's in the description, which I forgot to do. Sorry about that. So, the rule number 1, or the thing they do number 1, they all surround themselves with great peers. Just some amazing people. They try to find great coaches, great mentors. Some even seek counseling for that support because they want to be inspired every day, and I'll come to that point as well later. You may wonder why John Maxwell team is comprised of 20,000 coaches based in 160 countries. For the same reason. We want to surround ourselves, that includes me, with a great number of peers, coaches, mentors, and some of them work for us as counselors. So that was rule number 1, surrounding yourself with a great number of peers, great and inspiring people. So the thing number 2 that they do, they work on their habits, which means they stay strict to their discipline. They don't manage the time, they manage their decisions. So they decide to do, they plan their days. They plan their days strict, and some of the world's great leaders, they plan them in a very strict manner. They wake up, and they all exercise. Some of them do walks, some of them do something else, then they exercise. Some of them wake up and have their coffees and exercise. They exercise to stretch. There's some amazing leaders in the world, probably the most inspirational people that I've heard, that for their outer look, they're not able to do exercising and workouts. For that reason, they do something else. What that means, they try to discipline on their days. So they work on their own schedule rather than bring other people's schedules in. So that was number 2. They work on their habits, hence discipline. The thing number 2, they get motivated every day. And that's a funny fact about the motivation. In one of my seminars, I think it was a year ago, last fall, I did 45 minutes or an hour introduction of one of my things. It was pro bono, so people didn't pay for that. And the person came up to me and said, Janis, your content is great, but it works only for 2 days. And my answer to that person was, you're right. It only works for 2 days, same as bathing. It's an amazing quote by Zig Ziglar. So motivation actually works the same way as showering or bathing does. That's why we recommend it every day. And that's the thing, you have to get yourself motivated every day. So your confidence level stays above this discouragement level that Gremlins try to bring in your life. So that was number 3, get motivated every day. Number 4, they constantly search for inspirational stories. If you get into difficult times, you may try to find a person or a business leader or just a life leader that has overcome it, has gone through an issue, passed it, and walked out safe, perhaps with a great knowledge and a great deal of experience. That's thing number 4. They constantly search for those inspirational stories that inspire them. Some people were in more difficult circumstances and they managed to get through them. That's a thing number 4 that those great leaders do. Thing number 5, they stretch themselves. This is the funny fact about the whole nature around us, how it is created. God, as a person of faith, I do believe in Him, created everything to be grown. You see, animals grow, trees, any plant grows. Take grapes, take fruits, they grow, they stretch themselves. For some instance, and for some reason I don't know, humans are not really eager to this side of a thing. We want to grow, I'm not meaning physically, but we want to grow mentally or spiritually, that we forgot that we need to stretch ourselves. We need to push our boundaries. And that's the thing what great leaders do. They stretch themselves. They try to apply new things that they learn through their mentors. Every great leader has a mentor. That's how it all works out. That was number 5, stretching yourselves. Number 6, they overcome their fears. And excuse me for a minute, I need to open up my other notebook. That's the thing that happens, mistakes, that something closes down. And this is the thing that I have just recently discovered in a Napoleon Hill great book called Think and Grow Rich, where it says that fear, the worst of all enemies, can be effectively cured by forced repetition of acts of courage. Everyone who has seen active service in war knows this. Every soldier, every private, starting from every private and upwards, knows that by forced repetition of courage, you can overcome your fear. What it means for great leaders, start with the small steps. If you face a fear, do something small, then do bigger, overcome the bigger fear, and so on, and move on, and move on, and move on. That was number 6, overcome your fears. Number 7, I'll be pretty harsh and straight one. They despise negative people. And I'm saying this bluntly and straight. They despise them and they avoid them. At any cost, they try to escape them. And if some person comes to their life that is negative by appearance, or he just shows negative attitude, they try to literally talk them off. Sorry for my straightness and perhaps directness, but that's the only way how to actually cope with this thing, cope with the negative people. Put them in the box and move them away. Put them on a shelf and let them simmer there till they find out the positivity of life. That was number 7. And number 8, this is that concludes the list, and I think this is the most important one for great leaders. They laugh at themselves. each gremlin, each doubt brings us some humor in our lives. More or less what it means that sometimes we are so frightened by an obstacle, or we think that we cannot do a certain thing or this or that. But eventually, when we come to the result, we realize how easy it was. And then we just laugh at those stories. Oh, I could have just done it earlier. I didn't realize how easy it was, how much stress it required from me. Sorry, not how much, but how little. I do these things typically. I say things differently. So, that was it. 8 things that great leaders do to avoid their gremlins. They have them in their lives. And I was surprised and appalled by that. And my mentors were great. And the faculty team on the John Maxwell leadership school, they also have them. But they try to follow these 8 things to overcome them and overpower them. So let me remind you at the end. So they surround themselves with great peers, coaches, mentors, and counselors. They work on their habits, discipline themselves. They get motivated every day. They constantly seek for inspirational stories. They stretch themselves. That was number 5. Number 6, they overcome their fears. Number 7, they despise. Yes, despise negative people. And number 8, they laugh at themselves. That was it for today. My name is Janis Janovskis. I'm a John Maxwell certified leadership trainer and a coach. It was my pleasure and honor to be with you today. See you in 1 week's time. If you need more of me, you can send me a message and perhaps book me for a talk or a lesson or training, or just send me a message for the number of words, like if you liked it or not. Thanks. Have a stunning week ahead.